49ers alarm update time from Twin Peaks. Beautiful view downtown San Francisco, and of course, a sunset. Now, I know that you're watching this closer to sunrise, but sometimes we got to do what we got to do to bring you the spectacular scenery of the area. Why don't we talk about Diametro Lenoir and Reynaldo Green with the site of Candlestick Park far in the background. You guys see that hill right there? Candlestick used to be right near there. Diametro Lenoir tweeted that he and Reynaldo Green are going to be the top duo in the NFL. And I think that there's a little bit of a hidden accomplishment for the 49ers this offseason, which is so important heading into the draft. And it is that they signed a lot of DBs. Obviously signed them on the more low key because they were not spending huge money, but they've got a starter, I think, at that third cornerback position. I think you're still going to have Demo moving inside and out. He could be your versatile slot corner, goes to the outside. Maybe even Reynaldo Green can handle that. They've trained him in that way. But Trey Brown, whom the 49ers signed away from the Seattle Seahawks, I think is good enough to play for the 49ers in a significant capacity. This was PFF's top graded press coverage corner in 2023. Ankle injury for Trey Brown really slowed him down in 2024, and that's why the 49ers were able to get him at a relative bargain rate. Now, they averaged spending only $2.3 million APY on the 12 free agents that they did sign. So they're obviously looking at this free agency period as an extension of the draft. They wanted some talent with particular specific upside that they could get on that cost-controlled basis. And since you've taken care of a position with Trey Brown, since you've taken care of safety depth with Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant, since you're able to pick up Trey Tomlinson, the feisty corner off waivers from the Rams, I think that as the 49ers, you have created a situation where you're now entering the draft without pronounced needs in a defensive backfield. And that was definitely a position of pronounced need before free agency started. And look where this draft is particularly strong, especially on the defensive side. Defensive tackle, I think there's some good linebackers in the draft. I think there's some good defensive ends in the draft. And then if you want to flip it to the other side of the ball, running back. Where have the 49ers definitely gotten weaker over the course of this new league year with departures and with cuts? Defensive tackle, defensive end, and running back, with Jordan Mason obviously leaving via trade before he signed his tender. Those happen to be the three areas of the draft that I think have the strongest pool of talent. So you enter the draft on the high ground. You're able to start an all-out assault on your positions of need using the positions that are in most abundance during this particular draft. Last year, this was all about the offense, right? The first 15 picks went on offensive players. This year, I believe the draft is about the meat in the middle. And the 49ers have positioned themselves roster-wise to be able to take advantage of that. Remember, they've got 11 picks, which is the most in the NFL. Now, speaking of the high ground, why don't we move to even higher ground? We want the highest ground possible, right, for the 49ers alarm update. And this is supposed to be morning show. You might have noticed I just slipped and almost killed myself. But this morning show is going to be an evening sunset. Because in the morning, the sun is going to rise over downtown. And one of these days, we'll wake up soon enough to take advantage of that, but not today. Now, one thing that did happen on Tuesday that was significant regarding the 49ers is the Stephon Diggs signing with the New England Patriots. They were obviously hungry for a veteran receiver. They were interested in trading for Brandon Aiyuk back last offseason before he signed the extension with the 49ers. San Francisco has not been averse to the idea of trading away Aiyuk's contract, but it turns out that the Patriots were able to pick up Diggs for a significantly cheaper price than Brandon Aiyuk would have cost them. There's some mumblings out there that the 49ers have wanted a second-round pick for Brandon Aiyuk. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen, but we do know that the Patriots were able to pick up Stephon Diggs for free. No draft capital necessary from New England to pick up Stephon Diggs, who was a free agent. Now, there is a slight apples-to-apples comparison here in that Diggs is also coming off of a torn ACL. Now, he's 31 years old, so there's that. Aiyuk, obviously younger at 27, but The price tag for Diggs at about $23 million a year, only about a year plus of guarantees, and the fact that he didn't cost any draft capital means that the 49ers, even if they're giving Brandon Aiyuk away because of how loaded that deal is, right? There's guarantees this year, there are guarantees next year. It's $50 million of guarantees. Brandon Aiyuk is really expensive because of the contract. You're not just trading the player, you're trading the contract, and that contract is a hefty ask for other teams to pick up. It's a hefty ask for the 49ers to pick up, but they agreed to the contract with Brandon Aiyuk last August, and now they have to deal with the downstream results of that. As I've said over the course of the past couple weeks, I've said that a trade is unlikely, so it's not exactly breaking news, but my main point has been that the 49ers' best path forward is likely seeing what Brandon Aiyuk can do, motivate Brandon Aiyuk on your football team, and hey, maybe, if they are dangling Brandon Aiyuk for a second-round pick, it's almost certain that nobody's going to want to pay that. Maybe it's a motivation tactic. Maybe this is a way to light a fire under Brandon Aiyuk to see if he can come back as his best self, because that's, I think, what the 49ers need to, truly make this salvage this partnership after the acrimony last year. And we know that they badly need it to be the best football team they can be, ranked dead last in separation last year. And what is Brandon Aiyuk when he's healthy, when he's at his best? A separator. Even when he wasn't at his best last season, Brandon Aiyuk separated well. And he just didn't catch the football. He had some really damaging drops for San Francisco. The drop against Kansas City, just a few minutes before he tore his ACL, Brock Purdy threw a dime outside the numbers, set Brandon Aiyuk up for what could have been a touchdown, wasn't able to hold on to the football. That was the issue last year. And then obviously he got hurt, and Aiyuk couldn't even be used as a decoy after that point. So this is a talented player who has obviously been through a lot. The 49ers have been through a lot because of him, but we have to remember that what Brandon Aiyuk did in 2023 truly was special, not only from the receiver talent standpoint, but also from the standpoint of effort. I mean, I still remember week 1 against Pittsburgh, Christian McCaffrey and the 65-yard touchdown run. Brandon Aiyuk blocked 2 people on that play. Took out the edge rusher, took out Highsmith, and then he took out DeMonte Casey, the safety of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He pancaked him downfield. And it was one of the more impressive athletic displays in terms of blocking that I had ever seen. It was 3 or 4 seconds in between blocks that were about 15 yards apart. So Aiyuk is a player who has shown hunger, who has shown drive, who has shown dominance out on the football field. And the 49ers, if they're unable to offload the asset, as appears to be the case, then they have to make sure they rehabilitate the asset so that Brandon Aiyuk is delivering for them the way that he delivered for several seasons before that contract, and then obviously the very disappointing 2024. So also yesterday, Russell Wilson signed with the New York Giants, the old nemesis of the 49ers. Russell 17-4 against San Francisco over the course of his career. And the reason that I bring this up is because the 49ers play at the New York Giants this next season. So they're going to hope that Russell Wilson's record is 17-5 after this one. He's 36 years old now. It's not the same elusive Russell that we saw early in his career with the Seattle Seahawks. In the 2012 season, or 13 season, when Seattle won the Super Bowl, they actually won it at the new home stadium of Russell Wilson, at MetLife Stadium. They dominated the Broncos. So that's also a place the 49ers don't like going to. Saw all those injuries, Bosa, Solomon Thomas, Jimmy Garoppolo back in 2020. When the schedule does come out in April, maybe May, I think they keep on pushing that back. We will keep a close eye on when the 49ers play Russell Wilson, who, by the way, Brock Purdy has been comped to. And I could see how, but Purdy likes to run around and he's elusive back there, the quick 10-yard split. I think Russell Wilson, not quite as fast as Brock Purdy in that burst, but maybe a little more slippery back in his prime. Obviously a different quarterback now, but maybe we'll have some fun with that once that game comes along. Anyway, we're running out of light here in San Francisco. This is the 49ers morning alarm update shot the night before. I hiked all the way up here to Twin Peaks to give you guys a nice look at this beautiful city. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.